Hola, FirstGen. You are listening to FirstGenHealing, a podcast on Latinx healing and awakening journeys. My name is Priscila Luna. I am your host, and I'm going to let today's guest introduce herself. Mujer, let us into your world.
Hi, everyone. My name is Paola Isabel Lizarraga, and I'm so excited to be here.
Yay! Why don't we start off with maybe a little bit about your background, where you grew up, and your culture, your cultura.
So I am a Latina. My parents are from Guadalajara, Jalisco.
Mm.
I was born in Torrance, so I'm born in Torrance, raised in Carson. So I've lived in Carson, California, my whole life. I
Wow.
love it there. Right now, I do work full time for a skincare brand. I do like sales operations. I'm a coordinator.
Mm.
And then I also do makeup part time, makeup artist. I've been doing that for about 7 years, freelancing. And that's just kind of like my fun side job that I love to do.
And I
Yeah.
think you are the middle child. Is that correct?
Yep. I have two brothers and I'm the middle child. So we're only
Okay.
like a year apart each. So we're really close in age.
And no sisters.
Correct.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about, yeah, being the middle child of two brothers.
Let's say it was interesting. I always wanted a sister growing up. I think I wanted that so much, but my younger brother, which again, he's only like a year and 2 months younger than me,
Mm-hmm.
he and I like were so close. I think he was almost like my sister growing up.
Mm.
We're super close. But my older brother, he's a year and 2 months older than me. He was always kind of like the tough one on me. So yeah, it was interesting, but nonetheless, I think we had like a pretty good childhood. I think we grew up getting along most for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my older brother was a little tough on me, I will say that, but overall, we had a good bond, three of us.
Yeah. Oh,
Hmm.
that's amazing. I wonder if it has to do with you guys being really close in age, like if that maybe played a part in you guys being able to create a bond.
Definitely, I think also like my parents being like young parents, they had us when we
Mm.
were, I think they were 21, 22 when they started having us, and they
Mm-hmm.
had us like, consecutively. So we just spent like a lot of time with my mom, and she was a stay-at-home mom, so it was just always
Oh.
my mom and us three.
And so, how do you think you experienced the first gen experience growing up here?
I honestly loved my experience. There was times where I think I wanted to just move to Mexico. There was a lot of times where I wanted to just move over there because I have so much family over there.
Mm.
But thankfully, my parents were great and they took us every summer to Mexico
Wow.
until I was about 15. Then when I turned actually 16, when I started working, my dad was like, "You can start paying for your own plane tickets." And then I was like, "Yeah, I can't go.
No.
I can't go every year anymore."
Yeah, suddenly it's not a priority.
Yeah.
That's
But
awesome. I actually, like growing up, always was a little bit jealous of people that got to go to Mexico every summer.
yeah.
It was just not something that, well, I know why. Like, my family was focused on coming here. So my parents
Yeah.
were the siblings that were helping their parents and their siblings get here.
Hmm.
So I think that's why we didn't make it out there. But
Yeah.
growing up, what did you think of Mexico? Like, what was your perception of it?
Oh man, I just loved it. I love the just the authenticity of everything. 'Cause I feel like there was like little snippets of it here, in the
Mm-hmm.
US, but just there it just felt so like if it just feels like home. I don't know. Like
Mm.
because I have so much family and we would just go there and it would be like, oh, let's go to Abuelito's house and then let's go to my tia's house and let's go to the mercado, let's go to the tianguis. And it was just memories that I really like cherish and just experiences that I love. And although I did want to like go there and live there as a kid, I feel like it would have been a hard life, and I see
Mm.
why, I think a lot of people tried to like get out of there and come out here to try to make like a better life.
Yeah.
But because, just the cost of living over there, and then just to work, and just such a different lifestyle. But
Mm-hmm.
I see all my family making it happen no matter what, so it's, no matter what, it's possible. And who
Yeah.
knows, maybe one day I'll be out there. Like, I think it was right before I met my husband, I was literally this close to moving out there because my mom had already moved back out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just working at Starbucks at the time, and I had told my mom, like, maybe I'll just go for like a year, spend the year with you and be with the family and all this stuff. And then I met my husband.
Wow.
And things, I was like, I guess I'm not going to Mexico
Yeah.
anymore.
Sorry, mom.
Yeah.
Wow. So I have two questions for you.
Mhm.
The first one is, since your parents were so young when they had you, I'm wondering if you got a different experience of the expectations on you. Because growing up, I got a lot of, I think I absorbed it as guilt. Like, you don't know the sacrifices that we made to come to this country to do what we were doing for you. And, I have that story ingrained in my head with a lot of
Mhm.
gratitude, but also I know how much it's taken to be able to work through that and heal from that.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering if you kind of got the same type of story or if it was a little bit different since your parents were young and, maybe they experienced their life differently.
Yeah, I think there were little parts of that, but there wasn't really too much of it. Especially from my dad. So my dad, he was born here, but
Mm.
he lived most of his life in Mexico. So that's where he met my mom.
Okay.
And my mom, she was born over there. So a little backstory. My mom actually, when they got married, my dad told her that they would come over here and like just work for like a year or two, make some money, and then go back to Mexico. So
Mm.
basically, he never took her back. And so I think that part I got from like my mom,
Mm.
and it wasn't really so much directly shaming us, or not, like shaming us or making us feel bad, but more so like her always kind of portraying like her sadness about being
Mm.
here in this country. Like she never
Yeah.
liked being here, like she would always be like, I want to go back. So I think it was just always kind of carrying that, and like always feeling like, damn, like I wish I could help her, live
Mm-hmm.
her truth and like be in Mexico with her family. So, um, yeah, it wasn't so much of that, but also I feel like my dad just came and he just started like working. I think he didn't finish, high school, and he just was like work, work, work. So I feel like
Mm-hmm.
when I was in high school, all my friends were kind of like, oh, like I'm applying to this college, I'm going to this, I'm going to study this. And I didn't have that in my brain whatsoever. Like it was like not even
Mm.
like a thought in my brain. Like it was just kind of like, oh shoot, like I should maybe start looking into this. And I did apply it to one college, I think, towards the end of my senior year, like I think super last minute. I ended up getting in, and when I went to tell my dad, like, hey, like I got in, I was super excited. And his response was so like just it just like totally crushed me. He was just like, well, how are you gonna pay for it? Like, no congrats. No, it was just like
Wow.
I was deflated pretty much, and I was just like, okay, I'm not going to college. So
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I did not go.
Wow. Yeah, that's a completely different experience than, for example, I had, where it
Yeah.
was like it's a given you're going. No choice in that. And how interesting. And how did it feel to, I think I'm just, putting myself in your shoes a little bit. And I've heard that, like, dislike of this country from aunts and uncles sometimes when they'll come visit and stay
Yeah.
for a couple months and they're constantly like, I want to go back already. I want to go back. Yet they're here because they need to make some income, right? Or some money.
Right.
So I'm wondering, like, to hear that from my own mom, also knowing that I'm from this country, like, or putting myself in
Oh
your
yeah.
shoes, how did that feel as a child hearing that, like, that your mom isn't happy where she is, essentially, right?
Mhm. yeah, it sucks, but I was always kind of like on the defense, like defending it because I'm like, I love being here. Like all my friends are here. Like, you
Mm,
know, I was, like I said, slightly torn because I was like, I do love Mexico too. I do love my family over there and everything. But yeah, it was always kind of like a battle, but I was like on defense, but I never wanted to fight her about it either because I always felt like she has the right to feel the way she feels. And
mm-hmm.
honestly, I didn't find out the whole like part about my dad not taking her back until much later in life.
Mm,
So probably like my early 20s is when I found out about that specifically. So that's when I was like, oh, this makes a lot more sense now.
yeah, yeah,
So it was
yeah.
always kind of just like, damn, why does she hate it like so much? And the only, valid reason I could obviously think of was just her family. Like literally her entire family's over there. So I'm like, I would miss my family too if I was in another country.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
yeah.
So her family didn't make their way out here. It wasn't like their goal to come here either.
Oh, no way. Yeah, no.
Ah, okay, I see.
Yeah.
And my next question to you is I think a lot of us, I haven't experienced this yet, but I kind of already got like this might happen of our parents going back to their home country.
Hmm.
So, in a way, we're assimilating here, right? We're like kind of getting to know this country with our parents, and figuring it out with our parents.
Yeah.
And then they decide to go back home and be like, bye, come visit me.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what that experience was like for you because I know it might happen to me. Like I said, I've gotten the warning of this is on the radar. And
Right.
even just that, to be honest, was a little bit tough for me to think about. Like, what do you mean? After everything that we've been through here in this country, so that and all that actually meant, and then now you're going back. So how did you maybe interpret that?
Yeah, it's sad. Like I was very sad because I mean, I still have my dad over here, but
mm,
my mom, yeah, she's been gone for like 10 years now and I call her every single day. We FaceTime, we like, we're in contact every day, but there's nothing like seeing your mom. Like I wish I could call her and be like, "Hey, can I come over after work?" or like, just little things like that, but it's tough, but I think the bigger part of me is happy that she's back where she belongs, where she really like always felt where she needed to be, where I feel like
mm,
she got kind of torn away from.
yeah.
So the majority part of me is like just mostly happy that she's back with her family. Like I call her and she just sounds so happy and it just sounds like a completely different mom than when she was here living in
Mm,
a unhappy marriage with my dad, and
yeah.
it all makes sense now. It's all like that's why I don't feel like as bad because it makes sense. I'm like, okay, she wasn't happy. She was got taken away from her family basically, and now she's back. But she feels completely torn because yeah, she's super
Mm,
happy being in Mexico again with her family, but then her kids, which she says like son mi vida, like you guys are my life. We're here. So she's like,
yeah.
so yeah, like obviously during the pandemic, it was very difficult to even try to go travel out there. So as of this year, 2022, now I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna try to go twice a year at least,
Mm,
to use my vacation time to go see you. So I did go in May already, so I'm planning to go next month, and
mm,
I'm excited. I'm like just
yeah.
to go hang out with my mom,
Yeah.
spend time with her. But it is
Mm,
it is it sucks to think that like oh we only get like 1 or 2 full weeks together
wow.
in the whole year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true.
It's
Dang.
interesting. It's
Yeah.
very interesting. Yeah, like but I also feel I don't know, like a part of me is just like is this just like a part of growing up? Like it's just,
Mm,
sometimes family goes separate ways. Some people go live in other countries, like brothers and sisters or and luckily I have my brothers here still and I have my dad here, so it's just my mom. She's in Mexico, but
mm-hmm.
she has her casita over there. It's so cute. So yeah, I'm happy about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh. Well, I think, yeah, I mean, I love the way that you're approaching it, which is like more about her, how she's feeling and doing and what she wants. I was a little bit more selfish, to be honest. I was like, what do you mean? Like, you can't do this to me.
No,
But you're
yeah.
right. I think like it makes you question, like, oh, is this life? Like, is this growing up what that means? And I'm
Hmm.
wondering, like, if back in the day, families, I'm guessing yes, but I'm thinking, like, what about 100 years ago? Like, did families travel, and separate all the time? I'm just
Yeah.
wondering if that was normal back then. But I guess with technology nowadays, it's like a little bit doable, like to stay in touch and all that.
I'm so grateful for that. I mean, I know technology can also be a bad thing for certain things, right? When people misuse it and stuff, but for the sense of like keeping that connection with my mom and my family, it's like it's a beautiful thing that I can like go on Facebook and literally just see what all my family's up to and
Yeah,
keep in touch, So it's an amazing tool that we have now.
yeah, totally.
Mhm.
When it comes to healing and awakening, I know everyone has their own definition, and that's completely okay with me. I feel like that's part of the podcast, right? Is learning like what everyone's journey has been with each one separately or together. So, what, I guess, journey do you resonate with most? And can you maybe tell us a little bit about the beginning of it?
So I think for me, there's been physical healing, but then also like just like healing from within as well. As far as like from within, I think for me, it's been a lot of just kind of being more like self-compassionate, just not being so hard on myself.
Yeah.
Um, for me, it definitely started when I was very young. Um, I think I like had my growth spurt pretty early in life. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like 5'7". It's kind of tall, I guess, for a girl. Um, and I pretty much like I grew tall pretty young as a younger girl, being like taller. That's always something that kind of like messed with me, I guess, a lot. And
Mm,
I really was like hard on myself about it because I would be like, am I so tall? And why are all my friends really small and short and cute, And I think for me, it was really kind of like in middle school when this happened,
mm-hmm.
because that's when I kind of had that growth spurt and all the girls, even all the boys, like this boy that I had a crush on, he was shorter than me. I was like, damn it. And even at that time, like I just felt like I was still kind of trying to figure out like me, who I was, and
Yeah.
I was listening to like a lot of like metal or like just rock, like just I was into that kind of music, and my mom just was like not happy about my style of clothing and
Mm,
why are you wearing so much black or like band t-shirts and stuff like that. So it was always kind of just like what's wrong with me because I was like always just like different, I was just never like your cookie cutter like pretty girl, I guess, and I had friends like that and cool, like good for them, but I just was different.
mm,
Um and yeah, like as a young, you know, teenage preteen girl, like my mom would always be like, why don't you dress like XYZ, like why don't you dress
mm.
like her? Like ella se viste bien bonito and this and that. Like,
Like a
and it was
comparison, like
always
already
comparing,
comparing.
always.
Yeah.
And I would be just, back then I didn't really fight about it because I would just be like, well, okay, like why don't I dress like that? And I think, she tried to kind of like buy me things to dress like that. And I never felt comfortable. Like I never felt like me. Like I'm just like, I don't know. Like I just didn't like it, And
Yeah.
I think once I got into high school, the whole like height thing kind of started leveling out. Like a lot of people started growing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, people are getting to my height
Finally
now.
growing up.
They're catching up.
Yeah.
But I also just really started kind of like figuring myself out and just like, okay, like I'm different and like that's okay, you know? And
Mm,
um I think in high school I just kind of started seeing more people that dress like me or like that were like into music like me. And um in middle school that wasn't really like the case, you know. It was just like I was very different, I guess, compared to my friends. And yeah, just I think that's the bad part, is that I always got it in my head at that point, was like comparing myself to others and just like,
mm,
why am I not like this person, you know? And I think in a generation like ours where we grew up with like a lot of social media,
yeah.
I started, you know, going and like, you know, what's it called? Like spiraling with like just seeing people on social media and just being like, why don't I look like this person? Or like, you know, yeah, it became difficult. And I think, you know, that's where I brought up earlier, you know, sometimes the internet and social media it can be toxic. It can be very
Yeah.
toxic. And it was for a while for me. But I think this last like year or two, like I guess I've been trying to like change my mindset a little bit, and just now I know really how like curated so much social media is. Like,
Right.
you know, Instagram is so curated, and I think
Yeah.
I've been really trying to like either kind of limit my time on there as much, or just take what I see with a grain of salt. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like, hey, like, yeah, this person looks like literally impeccable, but how many edits have they done to this? How many this and that, XYZ, right?
right.
So just really like in that sense, like trying to catch myself, um, and just like, hey, like if I kind of start feeling a little down, like get off of here, turn your
Mm-hmm.
phone off, and just like really recognize that like we all have flaws, like we all have things, and we're all beautiful too. Like we all have things, and it's like, why am I over here like stressing myself out over someone that, one, I don't know, and two, like this is just a picture. Like it's
Right. Isn't that
incredible what, even if it's a video. I mean, I know there's so many, it's all reels and stuff now, and but even that is so curated. So it's like,
mm-hmm.
why am I like stressing myself over things that like I don't really even know 100% about? And also, like, who cares? Like, I really am just
Yeah.
trying to like not take it so seriously and not like let it affect me so much, and just kind of like celebrate my wins and myself more these days.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think just in focusing so much on other people, like I was totally disregarding myself, and just like, hey dude, like you're actually pretty cool, like you're a good person, like, you know, you have so many people that love you, and like you're actually doing a lot for yourself, like you know. So it's just really trying to like catch myself in those moments of doubt and like sadness, and just trying to like honestly having conversations with myself and just being like, hey, check yourself right now, like
Yeah.
don't say that to yourself. And you know, there's people that have told me like, you know, what would a person that really loves you say about you right now?
Mm,
And that like really has stood out with me, because I'm like, you know what, like that's true. Like I know my mom was kind of hard on me growing up, but I feel like she understands a lot more now. I have tattoos. You know,
yeah.
she like she accepts me for who I am now, like 100%.
Yeah.
So our relationship has gotten like so much better. And um yeah, I think it's just that, and then just me just being like, hey, like this is me. Just because I have
Mm,
tattoos, just because I have a different style doesn't make me a bad person. And just because I'm different, it's not a bad thing. It's okay,
yeah.
you know? So it's just, yeah, just trying to catch myself in all those little moments, and really trying to like leave all those moments from my past, like kind of like heal from those, you know, because
Mm,
yeah, they were like engraved in my brain, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So
Yeah, so many gems in what you just said. So I want to name a couple. I
mhm,
think the first thing that came up when you mentioned your height was you were taking up space.
mhm,
And I think that for some reason, that's just really hard for us, like to take up space. And in your experience, you were taking up literal physical space, let's say
Yeah.
vertically.
Yeah.
But for some of us, like, for me, I took up space horizontally, let's say. And so then that was difficult, right? Like, why am I chubbier than the other people? So
Mhm.
that was the first thing that came up when you were mentioning that was like, oh, okay, yeah, like taking up space, um, whether it's like mentally or physically or with achievements, like for some reason it's hard to like cope with and maybe get used to or come around to it, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. And then the second thing you said was, I think, you mentioned you compare yourself a lot, but you also mentioned your mom did that, when you were younger. She kind of like pointed out different people to look to. They're doing kind of better in my eyes than you are, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So sometimes we continue to operate in ways that were taught to us from a very young age without knowing it.
Yeah.
So just wanted to name that because sometimes we don't realize it. We don't realize we're the voices in our heads are ones that aren't truly ours, that we learned them, and the way
Yeah.
that we operate comes from how we were taught to operate sometimes.
Mhm. No,
Yeah.
that's very true. I think I'm just like starting to realize that as of like probably this last year. It's just yeah,
Mm,
it's becoming like just realizations of like, man, this happened when I was younger. Like, oh, yeah,
mm-hmm.
that fucked with me. Sorry, can I cuss on here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll probably put a B, but
Beep.
yeah.
Okay.
No, yes, I think the other thing I wanted to point out is just the being mindful of what you consume and what voice, well, first being mindful of what you consume. So whether that's social media, it's movies, it's TV shows. I mean, I think now we're seeing more representation of different types of people and bodies and
Yeah.
like and faces, let's say. But in the past, it was very, like you said, curated. And there was a specific image that we were all to meet. And it's kind of like we were losing from the start, right? We were never going to be
Yes.
that person.
Hmm.
Um, and then lastly, you said a lot of good stuff in there, but the last thing I wanted to also name is self-love, which I think is it sounds like that's the chapter that you're on now, right? Self-love, self-acceptance, which are such powerful things to come into, I think. And like you said, really realizing like whose standards am I holding myself against
Hmm.
that are making me not love myself, because truly there's a lot of reasons why I should, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, I'm
Hmm.
a good person, the people around me love me. So it's kind of, I don't know if it feels the same for you, but sometimes it felt like this shadow of always like you're not good enough is what it felt
Hmm.
like.
Oh
Even
yeah.
though it I was actually like, if I would have paused, I was proud of me. I did like me. I was cool. Or
Yeah.
I liked who
Mm.
had become. But, thankfully I've been able to quiet that shadow, along a couple
Yeah.
years ago. But it sounds like that's where you're at. You're kind of like, hey, shut up. Get out of
Oh
here.
yeah. And that's something I've been, I guess, wanting to work on for a long time because I've known that that's an issue for a long time, but I think I just never knew how to approach it or how to even start
Mm,
to work on that. Like
mm-hmm.
I would literally ask myself, like, how can I even fix this? Like, I don't know. Like, I didn't know. And I think I've just been, I honestly just, TikTok has been kind of like a crazy place, but also like a cool place because somehow it knows and it kind of like puts people in my FYP that like are going through similar things and or it's kind of a beautiful thing where it's just like okay like it's okay for me to be like I work out a lot but then I also like to eat tacos on the weekend and I like to eat in and out and like that's okay like
Yeah.
things like that where it's just like I kind of used to shame myself and like really get in my head like oh my God you if you are going to work out you need to be 100% strict da, 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 da.
Mm,
Like things like that where it's just like no that's okay or they're like just being a Latina and just being like just fully you without any like shame or any borders, nothing like just it's okay. Like just be you.
yeah.
So yeah, I think just I've seen a lot of things on there that have kind of helped me like self-realize and kind of just work on little things, you know. And actually at work, like I said, I work, you know, for a skincare brand,
Mm-hmm.
and our last campaign that we did for one of our products was we're promoting like an exfoliant, but a part of that campaign was to kind of like meditate a little while you're exfoliating and kind of like be giving yourself positive, you know, feedback, or like just yeah, just tell yourself positive things. And like, you know, I know this campaign wasn't meant for me specifically, but it really like spoke to me. Like I was just like,
Yeah.
dang, like so I use that exfoliant every single morning, and it reminds my like it literally reminds me. And I tell myself when I'm exfoliating, I'm like, say nice things about yourself. And you know, like
Mm,
usually I'll shower, and I'm, you know, I'm showering after I go to the gym, and I'm like, dude, you worked out this morning. Like, good job. Like, you got up today, you did it. Like, so it has kind of helped enforce a little bit more just positivity just to start the day, you know, like
yeah.
and yeah, just little things like that have been kind of helping me inch my way a little closer to like where I would like to be, you know.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, it's like positively affirming yourself every day because usually let's say the standard mode we're on is negatively speaking on ourselves, right?
Oh yeah.
And something that just came to mind is because I know, we follow some of the same influencers. And I think
Hmm.
maybe something that was a little bit damaging was that a lot of the YouTubers that we followed, let's say about makeup and that kind of stuff, turned into lifestyle influencers, which then painted another picture of how our lives should be, what our houses should look like, what our days
Hmm.
should look like, right? So
Yeah.
now not only did we have like what our appearance should look like, now we had, oh, and now these are, if I want to be a fitness person, my meals have to look like this, my day has to
Yes.
look, my workout clothes has to look like this, my shoes have to be cute.
Hmm.
How crazy is it that we're all
Yeah.
following like these? And the thing, like you said, is it's not even, it's curated. It might not even be what that actually looks
Yeah.
like. No one actually 100% looks like that or lives like
Yeah.
that. But because of the awareness that's created around it, or the amount of times that it's repeated to us, because it's one influencer, copy paste the next one,
Oh
copy
yeah,
paste the next one,
for sure.
then
Hmm.
it becomes a standard, like workout
Hmm.
gurus, makeup influencers, and life,
Yeah.
like all of this stuff. Even I think to the point of like being a mom, right? We
Oh
already
yeah.
know like the type of pictures that come out when you're pregnant,
Oh
then
yeah.
the gender reveal, then the baby shower, then the
Yeah.
post, like they already have it all mapped up for us. And I bet
Yeah.
you that some people are extremely unhappy when they're
Oh yeah.
even like when their journey doesn't look like that, because then they're comparing to what they saw on
Oh
TV,
yeah.
on YouTube, all of that stuff.
I actually heard on a podcast yesterday. There's this true crime podcast I listen to. It's called Morbid. It's amazing. But I was
Mm-hmm.
hilarious because they were talking about literally this. And one of them is a mom of two twins. So she was saying like all those moms that put like their kids baking with them, and it looks so cute, and like she's like, they're fucking lying. She's like, no, it's chaos. It's literally chaos, and like that's not true. So it's just, I mean, it's all
Wow.
curated, and I think like it's really like, yeah, it's really like engraved in my brain now. Like, dude, whatever I see, I'm just like, you don't know what's going on in their life. Like, you don't
Yeah.
know what's like, so don't stress yourself about it, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's really what I'm trying to focus on.
Yes, and I think it can be like it's been years of that programming in a way, so it
Yeah,
may take years to deprogram ourselves, let's say.
that's true.
Um, One thing that I just noticed, and I want to actually like just say it because I want other people to know, especially like if you can't go live on TikTok yet, you can modify your face shape on before going live. So I want to say that because I think that on video we think it's less likely for people. We think, "Oh, well that's how they look. If it's on video, that's how they
Yeah.
look." But I
Yeah.
just want to say it's available to anyone who can go on live. I did it yesterday, and so it was able. I didn't do it. I saw it yesterday.
Yeah.
you can make your face less wide. You can change
Wow.
the length of your face, the shape of your eyes, and I think your mouth.
Wow.
So now
That's
video is
interesting.
not exempt from
Yeah.
this. And it's important for people to know because
Hmm.
we literally compare ourselves to these people as standards and
Oh yeah.
it's not realistic.
No, it's definitely not. And that's I did not know that, but I mean it makes sense because I mean if you go on Instagram stories and there's a gazillion filters on there and
Yeah.
everyone uses them. I'm
Yeah.
guilty. I use them for my stories sometimes, but I try to be like as raw as possible in like my posts where I'm just like, this is actually me.
Yeah.
All
Yes,
right, this
yes.
is it.
Yeah, me too. I think, on my own healing journey, it was about like accepting myself as I am and, using less filters and just trying to be me. Otherwise, you're creating an alternative reality too, and you're buying into what's out there. So, I think that's a really good segue into your makeup journey and maybe how because I think that's kind of like your creative outlet and what
Mhm.
has maybe been like the connecting thread throughout your different jobs.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your makeup journey and where you're at now with it.
So, yeah, I actually, it's funny because I always liked makeup. Like, I always did like a little squiggly wing, like in middle school. Um, but I think in high school is where I was like, around high school or maybe after high school, I was like, I want to learn. Like, I really want to actually like learn how to do it. So, I went to makeup school just for myself. Like I had no
Mm,
um real goal with it as far as like having clients or anything like that. Like I wanted to be able to do it when I went out at night or when there was a wedding or something. I just wanted to be able to like do my own makeup.
mm,
So I went to school. It was so much fun. I loved every second of it. Like it was just such a fun like journey for me. And yeah, basically, I just started posting on my Instagram about honestly just selfies. Like it was never any sort of like real true marketing, like of
mm-hmm.
like me trying to put myself out there and like get jobs. It was just me posting selfies of me and my makeup and what I was learning. Basically, I was like, oh, I can do this now. I can do this. And it just kind of grew from there, honestly. I've gotten all my clients have been through Instagram. People just kind of started hitting me up. And then from there, it was kind of word of mouth, like, hey, this person, referred me, and then this person.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, here we are 7 years later, and I'm still doing it, even though it wasn't something I intended to like make a like career.
Yeah.
Um, but it's interesting because I constantly, constantly have imposter syndrome about it all the time. Like it just, I mean, again, the whole comparing thing. I'll be on
Mm,
my makeup page and I'm just like, man, this makeup artist is amazing. Like, I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could do that. And but then it's like I get these clients who book me for their wedding and for their bachelorette and for their bridal showers and I'm just like, damn, like these people really trust me. Like this
yeah.
is a special day in their life and they're putting their trust in me and after I'm done with those makeups and then I see them and I'm like, wow, they look amazing. Like I did that. Like that's tight. And they, like I said, like just to know that like they put that trust in me is just it kind of like boosts me again. And I'm like, cool,
Mm-hmm.
like this is what I should be doing. Like this is what I love. Like it's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it kind of comes in waves where you know, like I said, I'm a freelancer, so it's not like a constant thing. I do have my full-time job, so it's just sometimes on the weekends, and it's not even every weekend. It's, kind of there's like seasons, prom
Mm-hmm.
season, graduation season, wedding season. So when I have like those lulls of like no jobs really for a couple months,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of when I get really in my head and I'm just like, dang, no one's hitting me up. Like maybe, but I guess I could also blame myself a little bit for that because I'm not super active on my makeup Instagram. And it's interesting because then I'll post a selfie and I'm like, I did my makeup pretty cool the other day. Let me post it. And like I'll post it and I'll get like 2 messages after that, like asking for makeup, you know? So it's
Wow.
just like, dude, like I should just, here you go, like post it. But then again, it's that just me trying to like shush that like imposter syndrome, that like that
Yeah.
little voice that's just like, you're not good enough, you know, like you're not
Mm,
as good as XYZ, you know, but yeah, it's just
yeah.
it's interesting.
It can be a BITCH comparison and imposter syndrome. And I think, I mean, I bet like when, let's say 4 years ago, you were like, oh, I could never do that makeup. And then you do it. And then you
Yeah.
forget because you're already looking at the next one, right? That you can
Hmm.
never do, but you're likely totally able to do.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting how we always move that goalpost of like what would make us good enough or what would be like worthy of others to see, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like we're the ones who's moving that consistently.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's good though. I think you're coming into the awareness at least, and you're realizing and you're pumping yourself up, which I think is beautiful that you need to be your own cheerleader.
Yeah.
Otherwise you just stop and then you stop like looking at your own potential and booking those clients. And you've done a ton of weddings, my dear.
I have. It's crazy.
Yeah, so I think, I hope that you do continue to pump yourself up. And also remembering, like, this is like a side note, but you can repost, like,
Yeah.
oh, last year I was doing these weddings, and you can just, like,
That's
yeah,
true. Very true. Yeah, it's
yeah.
like you said though, it's like I sometimes remind myself that too, because it's like I am constantly my own worst critic. So it's like again, like I was saying earlier, it's like I've been really trying to catch myself, and just when I get into those like really criticizing moments of myself, I'm just like, dude, stop, like reel it in and look at this, and yeah, sometimes I don't know if this sounds like a vain or something, but like I'll go on my makeup Instagram and I'm just like, damn, look at this job I did. Like this came out beautiful. Oh my God, this looks great. So then I get in my head, I'm like, okay, cool, like we're good.
Yeah, I love
So
that.
yeah,
No, it's reminding yourself of who you are because if your normal mode is to put yourself down, well, you can also put yourself, like, pump
yeah,
yourself up and do the
yes.
opposite. Yeah.
Be our own cheerleaders, right? Like you said, we have to
Yes.
be.
Yeah. So, in talking about your makeup, where can people look up your makeup and what you've done and see pictures of it?
Yay. So I do have my makeup Instagram. It's at Pao Isabel Makeup. Pao Isabel dot makeup. So Pao Isabel dot makeup.
Okay.
Um, basically my little online portfolio. So
Yes. And
yeah, so like
then,
I said, I do work Monday through Friday, so I'm like a weekend makeup artist pretty much. So
okay.
yeah,
And also on TikTok. Yes.
yes. It's at Paola with 3 A's at the end dot Isabel.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
I'll make sure to link you as well so people can find you. So, the next thing I'd like to ask you is there a picture that you love? And for those of you listening, all of the episodes are posted on YouTube. So you can go to YouTube and catch the photo. But is there a picture that you love? And if so, why?
Yes, I have it right here. Um, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of my growing up, I feel like was just me and my mom and my brothers. My dad was working all the time,
Yeah.
and knowing now, like what I know, like he wasn't super hands-on with us. It was just, and that's where my memories are, just my mom and my brothers. So
Mm.
here's my mom handling it with all three of us.
Aw. So cute. Oh,
I mean, it's pretty incredible to think now, just like she raised the three of us, just
yeah.
we were all so similar in age, and to be like dealing with,
Mm.
I mean, I don't have kids, but I know that having even one is really hard. I have a lot of friends with just one kid that are like, that's it, like that's a lot. And my mom had all three of us, so
Wow. Yeah.
this kind of just depicts like my growing up, my upbringing, and just like
Mm.
my mom, even though she was tough on me, like she's a badass, and I've always
Yeah.
like admired her.
Oh, I love that. And now that you're, doing some healing around that, that picture I'm sure is helpful, like to
Yeah.
reference it and remember little Paola and how
Yeah.
beautiful she is. Oh.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're moving into kind of the resources section. I always like to leave the listeners with maybe some recommendations, different things to go check out.
Mhm.
So, first is what is one of your favorite healing or mindful tools that you do? You mentioned like
Mhm.
exfoliating and, affirming yourself. So, would that be your thing, or do you have something else that you do or like?
I want to say like that was the one thing that came to my mind because that's the one thing I have like actively changed in my regimen to like help me. So that is, and even if you don't exfoliate every day, hopefully
Yeah.
you're washing your face every day. Or, even if when you're brushing your teeth or something that you do regularly, just
Mm-hmm.
you don't even think about it. It's not a chore, like you're doing it already. Um, yeah, just maybe take that time to just say nice things about yourself, even if it's little things that you think are like insignificant. I promise you they're not. Like any little thing is like it's good, like hey, like
Yeah.
I woke up today. I went to the gym or I did my homework last night or I went on a walk, walking is so underrated. So I went on a walk, that's an accomplishment in itself. So little things are like that. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, for me, exercising is something that helps me tremendously with my mental health and like, it just helps me like release bad energy or any,
Mm-hmm.
stress. And again, that can be for many people different forms,
Yeah.
I go to the gym every day. That's just something I like doing. I like lifting weights, but for some people that might be doing yoga, that might be walking outside, you don't need a machine, you don't need a treadmill. You can just go walk,
Mm-hmm.
so just doing something, I feel like doing something active, it helps, the endorphins that come after it and for the people that I feel like might be stuck and like don't know where to start, I always tell them to start walking. The
Mm.
simplest thing that you can do. Put on some headphones, put on your favorite show, and like the time will go by. Give yourself 20
Yeah.
minutes and just like it's done. Okay, cool. Now I can move on.
Yeah.
So that's something that those are things that have really helped me.
Mm. Love that. All right. What about a song that you like to listen to when you're in need of a pick me up?
There was a couple. um, so one of my like main songs that always brings me like happiness and joy is Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles.
Mm.
It's just such a like warm and fuzzy song, like just makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Um, but otherwise like party and like feel good, have fun music. I'm pretty sure the whole world will say Bad Bunny right now.
Bad Bunny, bad, bad, bad. All right. So the Beatles and Bad Bunny, you said.
Yeah, that's been the
All
vibe.
right. Okay. What about favorite quote or advice that you refer to?
Um, One that I have always lived by is things happen for a reason. And I think that's just something that always kind of picks me up when something bad might happen or, something I can't like logically explain yet. I'm just like, I just try to tell myself, like, just wait, like, I'm sure there's an explanation for this. Like, it
Mm,
happened for one reason or it didn't happen for one reason or another, So I think that that one has always kind of come through with me. Example, last year I was really trying to get promoted at work and I kept like trying to like I was interviewing for all these positions and nothing it was like I wasn't getting anything and I was getting
mm-hmm.
so down on myself. And then finally in November last year, I got one of them. I was like, finally, it happened. And once I got into this position, I was just so grateful. I was like, this is why none of the other ones worked out. Like even though I
Mm,
was so bummed out, those last few months, you know, like this is why. And it just made sense. And it was just like, it's okay, you know, like I think
Yeah.
we get so like caught up in those moments, but I think there's always a reason why things happen.
Yeah. I like the reframe that you made because, I've always heard like things happen for a reason, but I love how you said, and also things don't happen for a reason. So
Yeah.
that's another way of looking at stuff. Love
Hmm.
that. What is a influencer or person that you follow that you feel positively inspired by? We've talked about, the negative inspiration that sometimes we can get. What is one that you would say, no, I get good inspiration from?
There's actually two that I thought of, which one of them, I think we've all been following her since we were, I don't know, in our teens, but Desi Perkins, I think she's
Mm,
always been like a very like strong like Latina influence, and I feel like she's always kind of kept it real, like just as much as like her success has blown up, like I feel like she's stayed pretty humble. Um, and I just love that. Like I love when people are humble. Like I wish everyone success and happiness, but when people like become cocky and just like blow up, it's just like, oh, I don't know.
yeah. In one of the other episodes, we were talking about humbleness, and I was like, how much more humble can we be? Like we already
Yeah,
come from humble backgrounds, but I get what you mean. Like it's a
yeah,
different type of humble. It's not like stay humble, don't like celebrate your wins. It's more so like
for
the
sure.
character that you portray or how you go about it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I get you. I think she's always like throws in little pieces of authenticity of like this is
Yes.
the behind the scenes, like yes, this is all picture perfect, but also and then she'll
Yeah,
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. So I love that about her. And like, again, like I feel like I'm happy and stoked for everyone that has success. Yeah, just like don't change you. Hopefully your character doesn't change too much, you know.
Yeah.
Um, Another one, he's actually like a fitness kind of influencer. His name is Jordan Syatt. His Instagram is at Syatt Fitness. But he's like so different from other fitness influencers that I've followed. He just like keeps it real. He keeps it so
Mm,
real. He doesn't like sugarcoat anything. And he's kind of opened my eyes to that perspective of, you don't have to like stick to this super crazy regimen to like succeed. Um, and it kind of brought me out of that, I guess, that mentality of when I first started getting into like the fitness industry.
mm-hmm.
I really thought I had to be like, oh my God, if I'm not eating chicken and rice and broccoli, I'm failing, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
He really portrays it as like, no, like have your donut every now and then, like have your French fries, have some wine, but like work out every day and go walk. Like go, I think that's where I got it from, where he was like fitness walking is so underrated. Like just go
Mm,
walk, So he's helped me out a lot in my journey of just finding a balance in my life with health and fitness, and also just living like a balanced life,
yeah,
where I can still have fun.
yeah. Wow, I think that just like ties in how important it is to be real with your followers or to be
Hmm.
real as if you're someone that's, sharing online, right? Because it made
Yeah.
all the difference in your journey. Maybe you were
Hmm.
following those cookie cutter people, and so it made you feel down on yourself. And then
Yeah.
this guy comes around, shows like, here's there's other ways of doing it. It doesn't have to look perfect. And now you're like, okay, you find
Yeah,
ease within what you're trying to achieve and still achieving it.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said once too, because he's like, I've had a six pack before. He's like, it's not fun. It's not fun having a six pack. Like you literally have to eat that way and you have to be. He's like, I'd rather have an extra 15, 20 pounds on my body and be
Mm,
happy and be like living a healthy life, than to be like super skinny and like cut, And I'm like, that's so true. Like I don't need no six pack. I'm happy with being fit and healthy and happy. So
yeah.
yeah, it's changed my mindset a lot, which is good.
Yeah. Amazing. All right.
Mhm.
A feel good, powerful book or movie.
Um, all I could think of was a funny movie that makes me happy.
Okay. awesome.
And that is super bad. I
Ooh.
love that movie so much.
Yeah.
And it just makes me happy every time I watch it. It just makes me laugh uncontrollably, even though I know what's going to happen in every single
Yeah.
scene because I've seen it a million times. It just, I love that movie. It
Yeah.
just makes me feel good.
If you guys have not watched Superbad, please do
Honestly.
that. Please stop the episode right now. I'm just kidding. Finish the episode and then go
Go watch
watch
it.
it. Yeah. Okay. Now, you don't know about these questions, but these are the fun questions. So it's going to be
Okay.
like a speed round. Salsa verde or roja?
So it used to be verde when I was a kid, and now it is
Mm.
roja.
Why?
I think my taste buds are developing, and I like that roasted, like chile flavor. And
Mm.
yeah, that's what it is
Yeah.
now. It's
It's a
red.
little bit more, it has more depth, if you will. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Interesting. Horchata or Jamaica?
Jamaica.
Yum. Okay. Reggaeton or hip hop?
Oh, that's hard. It's reggaeton as of lately.
All right. Concha de vainilla or chocolate?
Vainilla.
And what is, I'm going to paint the scene here. You're walking down the street, there's a taco vendor. It just so happens to be your favorite taco vendor. What is your taco order?
Oh, dos de asada and dos de chorizo. Bomb.
Mm. ¿Con todo o la pura carne?
Todo. Yeah, give it to me with the
Con
works.
todo. ¿Y tu salsita roja?
Salsita roja, cilantro, onions, all of it. Yum.
Yum. Okay. Now, this is finish the lyrics.
Ooh.
Si una vez dije que te amaba.
Oh my God, I'm gonna do so bad with this one.
Si una vez dije que te amaba.
I don't know the lyrics. This is
Do
awful.
you know who this is?
Selena, of
Okay.
course.
All right. You know what? The purpose of this question is to expose all the fake fans out there.
I guess I am.
Just kidding. Just
You
kidding.
know what's funny though? Like when I was a kid, my dad bought me a karaoke machine,
Mm-hmm.
and the only tape I had was Selena. That's the only little tape I had, and that's all
Yeah.
I would sing. But I guess I was just la la
Yeah.
la.
Oh man. Okay. What about Oye, mi amor?
No me digas que no.
Yeah. Okay, good. And then this is the last one. Y volver, volver.
Volver. Oh,
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah. All right, girl. So we found out you're a fake Selena fan, true Mana fan, and Vicente Fernandez, hashtag RIP.
Hashtag R.I.P. Chente.
Yes. Have you watched his series on Netflix?
No, but I'm going to because I am obsessed with that actor. He's Jaime Camil.
Yeah.
I love him. So yeah, it's on my watch list.
It's really good. I recommend it.
Yeah.
If you guys are listening and haven't watched it, it's really good. But
I will watch it.
that, my friend, concludes today's questions. So I want to say thank you so much for being on the podcast, for sharing vulnerably. I know it's not easy to share about the things that you grow through and go through. And so, yeah, I appreciate it. And I'm sure a lot of people will resonate with a lot of the things that, that you mentioned today. So before we close the podcast out, is there any last thing that you would like to say?
Thank you for having me. I'm honored and I'm so excited for you as well. And yeah, just I hope that people keep coming to you for your positive energy and your positive vibes because this was lovely. I loved it.
Yay.
So, yes, good vibes to you guys, to everybody listening. Stay positive. You're gonna get through it.
Yeah.
And sigan echando ganas. We got this.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. All right, guys. Well, if you like this episode, please share it with your friends, the ones that you think need it the most or would enjoy this episode. Cuídense mucho. And if you guys are looking for that one-on-one support from a coach like me, Lucky for you, I have some spots open. So make sure that you're following me on FirstGenHealing on Instagram, on TikTok. You can DM me in either of those sites, or also you can email me at info@firstgenhealing.com. Other than that, remember, First Gen, I love you, I love me, and I can't wait for you to love yourself. Bye.
Bye.